I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just looking good. No, I'll just do it in front of her. Actually.
Going, he's kept going, he's scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net. That's Palmer. Played in the game. And a superb goal. Johnny did it. Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson! It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we got a small house, but we got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
Hello and welcome for the 52nd time to SK3 TV, the podcast for the thinking county fan, as long as what the fan is thinking is, well, the combination of a long break from football coupled with a retain list has turned people mental. Yes, every week we're here taking a sideways and, more importantly, unserious look at all things what are about county. With me, Nick, and much more importantly, it's Hannah. Hello.
Hi.
How
Yeah.
are we?
Feral, rogue. The fan base has lost their shit.
I did not think this would be what caused us to lose our shit, to be quite honest.
I mean, honestly, I suppose maybe it reflects the season that we've had, and also backs up my Dave Challoner falling on his sword because he knew who he was dealing with.
Yeah, he very much saw the iceberg. He saw, if I'm going to get topical, he saw the Hudson Bridge. If we're going to get fully topical.
What? And he climbed up the rigging.
He climbed up the rigging and went, "Take me, Bridge, take me."
Yeah.
Simon Wilson's going to have to bring a statement out tomorrow. A quick question for you, based on just as a sign of how bored everyone already is. After less than a week ago, I think the first thing I said to you after the game on Wednesday was that I'm quite looking forward to the break and all that. I've already got involved in biscuit discussions on Twitter.
I nearly weighed in on that as well.
Now's your chance, Hannah. What's your favourite biscuit? This is the question people want to know the answer to.
I do like a Viennese whirl. I don't necessarily agree with Aidan about hobnobs unless they're chocolate covered. I think that elevates them significantly. And then a controversial take, my favourite biscuit is a Jaffa cake.
Now, our discussions about this. As someone who's managed supermarkets before now, it's a real hot potato. Well, it's not a potato. It's orange and chocolate and sponge.
It's a cake. Isn't there something definitive about what's it called? VAT, and whether it's cake and it's a confectionery or whether it's a biscuit. I feel like it's a definitive reason. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's a really, really good biscuit, which is a bit too edgy to feature in such tables as young Aidan highlighted. Biscoff creams, they're like elite, the best biscuit.
If anyone was ever didn't believe that you're a Marple girl, it's Viennese whirls and Biscoff creams. It's all none of your.
But we never had biscuits growing up. Like, it just wasn't something that we ever had in the house. Mainly because I was allergic to all sorts of things. And then the little boy next door used to feed me penguin biscuits through the fence. Genuinely, yeah.
What, like a penguin biscuit glory hole?
Like the poor little girl next door isn't allowed anything. And I just, I don't think it ever made me ill anyway. Yeah. I can't remember. Matthew he's called. Matthew, the penguin biscuit donator.
Right. I mean, we've already got contenders for the episode title. That's excellent. That's a new record. 4.5 minutes in.
Excellent.
You with the Jaffa cakes, I think the difference is one of them. So cakes go soft when they go stale,
Yeah.
biscuits go hard, or is it the other way
No,
around?
biscuits go soft.
Biscuits go soft, cakes go hard when they go stale. So we need to see. Stop looking. Chrissy in the comments has confirmed. Yeah, biscuit goes soft, whereas the cake will go hard. So what we need to
Jaffa
do
cakes
is
definitely
put a
go
Jaffa
hard.
cake out in your garden and see what
No,
happens.
well, you can do that experiment while I'm away and you're moving in, and
Sort of.
yeah, I'll leave you Jaffa cakes.
That was the biggest, most hard-hitting stuff we've done. That was like Panorama. That was.
Yeah, and you can do a controlled experiment. I'm sure that there's other biscuits. I can bring you some biscuits back from America. Cookies.
Not Oreos, because I do not care about Oreos.
Do you know what though? American Oreos. A few Christmases ago, they did gingerbread flavour ones, which I raved about. See, it's all topical, all comes back. But they had tiny shards of candy cane in the frosting, which shouldn't have worked, but inexplicably very much did.
With that. I can party with that.
And did they do them over here? The golden Oreos that are a bit like Crunch Creams. Yeah.
Yes, you can get them. Yeah.
So I'll find out what holiday is coming up in America. Halloween.
My birthday.
That's
my
the next
birthday
one.
is coming up. That's a big holiday in America.
They do seasonal ones. There's always seasonal. Matt will be able to tell us. If Matt, you can let us know what
he can not only tell us, he can
just
send us a box of them and we can.
Well, no, I can bring them back, can't I?
That, yeah.
Yeah,
In terms of
other
stuff that's going on, I mean, we're obviously quite clearly stalling for time and trying to keep ourselves occupied for the summer.
I don't want to. I mean, we've talked about this, and yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can say about it. Ian Dowden says that you're too quiet and I'm too loud.
Which is, I don't understand why that would suddenly be an issue.
Well, it could be because I've actually remembered to move my microphone somewhere in the vicinity of my mouth this week, which is progress.
Always a start. That's always a start. For those tens of people who wanted updates on my bowls journey, nothing yet. I've walked past Bowling Greens, but nothing. Yeah,
oh my God.
I've not yet taken the plunge, but it's coming.
You've frozen now as well, but we'll just keep talking because the audio is fine. You can go enjoy at Marple. They're properly into their bowls.
Maybe I'll do that next week.
Yeah, you and Madden can go and
Maybe
sign up.
Man, then I'll be playing ball.
Oh, excellent! It's gone completely right. I'll just talk about things like that's not the recently released and retained list because I need Nick for that. What else can we talk about? £10 shirts in the shop. Are you back?
I'm here.
You are here. You just let me ramble on. Okay. Yeah, £10 shirts. £10. Presumably, a £5 donation from every shirt is still going to Kits by County.
That's good. So Kits by County is the real winner here, isn't it?
Well, potentially. When I saw the entire Edgeley Park matchday staff on Wednesday in shirts, I thought that there was some kind of write-off happening in terms of staff uniforms. But I've ordered a blue and yellow one for a massive £10, which seems very reasonable. My dad's ordered a blue and yellow one, so we can be twinning. #twinning. Liam, off of Lower League Look, has ordered the blue and yellow one and the pink one.
Really?
Very weird behaviour.
We're going international. Well, Yorkshire, but that's as international as we're going to get in it.
We had a conversation. It was when we were at Scunthorpe on Sunday. And then he found the new Bradford 2025 City of Culture shirt on DHgate, which I was actually quite impressed by.
That is absolutely insane. I could not believe it. I mean, the day our shirts come up on DHgate is what I'm hanging on for.
Yeah,
right.
You've made it, Wem.
What I'm going to do, I am going to let you do the admin after this, and I will be right back in like 2 minutes with some technical jiggery pokery. Right back.
Well, this isn't something I was prepared for, but we'd like to thank, as usual, our sponsors, Blackbird Kitchen, who are on the pans. Nick says that every week. I'm not fully sure what it means. They're on the pans at Gorilla and at Impossible off of the burgers. I've not had a burger since February, but that's apparently what we're doing this summer. As always, you should like and subscribe for such excellent, high impact, high quality, with no audiovisual issues whatsoever. And yeah, Spotify and Apple Podcasts need a little bit of love. But as always, everything's available on YouTube. Right, he's gone again. He's not back yet. What else can we talk about? Right, so we've not done season tickets yet. Season tickets, we have amongst the highest price season tickets, and people are predicting significant increases. We didn't have a massive increase last season. And one of the biggest things that is different about Stockport County versus other teams in League One is that we're the same price throughout. So that's why we look more expensive than others, because some of them will have a much more expensive option, but they'll also have a cheaper option. And so it balances out. As it stands, it's the same price every year. It'll be interested to see whether they sell any season tickets in either the railway end, which I can't, given the kind of amount of faffing about that we had at the end of the season, I can't imagine that they'll do, because they'll need that kind of allowance unless we start building work, in which case we will need to give even less to away fans, because it's a percentage of the available number of tickets after friends and family. So yeah, it remains to be seen. I can't even remember. I'm sure someone will be able to remind me when they were announced. I feel like it was fairly soon, and I feel like we had until something like the 13th of June to be able to buy, like if we'd had season tickets already, to renew them. But I don't know that they can necessarily put a massive increase on them with no benefit. Maybe if it's tied into the Great North Pie Company. And Nick's back. We've just had a monologue on season ticket prices.
My laptop decided it was imperative to restart at that time. It was just having none of my. This is what happens when you put off a restart for like 3 months. Eventually, the laptop just
so
goes.
Mine every Wednesday afternoon, every week, and if it gets done by Friday, normally it's a miracle.
Well, we're all good now. Everything's back to normal. How did the admin go for you?
I mean, it happened. I used the on the pans, confessed to not knowing what it meant.
Good phrase. That's all thanks to Ben. Ben started that, and I've not been able to stop saying it since.
I did the like and subscribe. Anyway, don't need to do it again. And then talked about season tickets to myself.
Well, I'll tell you what. Do you want me to, as like a little gift for you having to carry things for a couple of minutes there? Would you like me to regale you with a unapproved county Facebook group post of the week?
Is this the big one, or are you going to save that? Because sometimes I see these beforehand. It's quite rare. I've not seen either of these that are coming up today, and you have been doing some bigging up of this week's feature.
Yes, so there's one that's very long that I'm going to save because I think something big. I think we can hire out the Garrick Theatre and do like a dramatic reading of that one because it's very long. But I've got another one for you, and this is superb. Let's have the jingle.
You're on Prove County Facebook group, host of the week.
Right, this one does contain strong language. Just putting that out there. So if you're watching with young children, earmuffs, cover their ears up, cover Vernon's ears. He's not ready to hear this. So bear in mind, this is from the Stockport County supporters group. This is from a group dedicated to Stockport County Football Club. Right. I'd like to take a momentum, not moment. I'd like to take a momentum to commend whichever absolute twat at Stockport Council thought it was fine to put temporary lights on every main arterial route in town. That's absolute quality. Yeah, don't mind sitting in traffic for a fucking hour on a Saturday. Don't get me started on trying to get to Edgeley. Greek Street roundabout closed? No problem. Close a lane by the Pyramid and one at the bottom of Tiviot Way. Useless fucking cunts. So, there you go. That was before people had a retained list to get annoyed about.
I was going to say, like, end of football season hysteria manifests in lots of different ways, clearly. And I mean, I hope that their family's okay, that, you know, they're not under any duress.
Thoughts and prayers.
That yeah. Fair point. I can't argue. I mean, it took me an hour to get from Marple to that school that the children go to this morning. And yeah, it was not fun. It's down to various stupid, but it's unassociated with the Greek Street roundabout or Tiviot Way. Like, yeah.
It's also unassociated with Stockport County Football Club, really. I mean,
that's true.
I think they thought it was Stockport Council supporters group. And that's why they sent it.
That would be brilliant. I would say as well that the council are clearly gearing up for half term when they seem to shut every road in the wider Stockport area. So this will be the beginning. Next week will be awful.
Maybe that can be one of our summer activities. We can go and do like, you can go and take pictures of me doing compo faces on various closed roads. Just me pointing at a traffic light going.
Do you know what we could do? You know how people protest at the Portwood roundabout?
Yeah. Do I?
We could protest at the Greek Street roundabout, but when I say protest, I mean just like all meet up, maybe go and get a shamoon from Leather Bakery, and if anyone asks, we're protesting, which is our democratic right.
Anything's a protest if you have a face like a smacked ass.
Yeah.
Lessons learned there. Oh, remember we had football to talk about? What were all that about? Oh, you're happy now, Ian. I've said it. I've said the line.
Back in the day.
Bart Simpson.
Oh, I went to Fun Football on Sunday. So Scunthorpe and Chester in the National League North promotion final.
Oh, it was the National League North.
A massive fuck-off trophy. I'd forgotten how epic and ornate that trophy is. But it was interesting. Obviously it was at Scunthorpe, even though it was a neutral venue, which was a little bit weird, very odd. But Scunthorpe still had managed to get three sides of because I assumed it'd have to be a 50-50 allocation, but whether it was or not, well, it clearly wasn't because Scunny had three sides. But
no, it's essentially down. It's down as a home game. Like the team that finishes highest gets to go home,
it was neutral. Because Ian Ian didn't have access to his normal box and stuff. So anyway,
Yeah, well,
But
we're on non-league playoffs. Oldham are currently a goal up at York, which I'm very. I'm happy about that. I'm happy for the
no,
Oldham lads.
I like York. Well, no, I just don't like Oldham.
I mean, I'd be happy with either of them going up, to be honest, because they're both proper clubs.
But the referee kept stopping the game because, do you remember when we played Halifax and there were people like on the pitch but off the field of play?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Exactly like that, except the referee kept stopping the game, forcing everyone to go back over the. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. I think there was something like 13 minutes of time added onto extra time after 12 minutes at the end of normal. It was ridiculous.
I tuned in from like the end of normal time. I switched it on, and yeah, I was blown away. But then when you turn on a match halfway through, or it'll happen. It happened at weekend. I was looking at the Forest score on Flash Scores, and it came up with the added time, and it was like 13 minutes added time. I was like, "What's gone on?" And it just gets me dead excited. I'm like, "Well, something's happened. What's happened? I need to know."
Yeah.
That's what I
There was
like.
what else was there? There was medical emergency in the crowd. There was the stop. Oh, it was one for the ages, and then it took me the best part of an hour to get out of the car park, and it took Liam 5 minutes. So, release and retain list.
Yes, which has. I just some water went down the wrong way there. I'm so excited to talk about the retain list. Yes, it's turned. I mean, it almost feels like we should do like an idiot's guide, like retain list for dummies.
I
Is what we should do.
feel like there's quite a lot of the vernacular that needs explaining, and also the contractual side of it, and how basic contracts work, and contracts take place between two parties, both of which have to agree to them.
What we'll do to illustrate that is I'm going to find the announcement from last year, and from that we can glean sort of what they mean there. So for the 24-25 campaign, so the wording used was the following players are under contract, and then there was a big list of the players. The following players will depart the club following the end of their contracts: Todd Kane, Ryan Crowsdale, Miles Hippolyte, Jordan Smith, Bobby Jones, Taylor McMahon, Christian Malinois. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Paddy Madden had a separate section at the
We
bottom
did,
because
I think I've said this to you. Like I'm sure I wasn't the only one. I read down that list and was like, and then I kept scrolling, and then the tears started, and that was just because that was the crew.
So the phrasing used that I think people should take note of: the following out of contract players remain in dialogue with the club regarding extended terms. That was Ryan Rydell, who signed, Cody Johnson, who signed, Ben Hinchliffe, who signed, Macaulay Southam-Hales, who ended up signing, and then Conor Lemonade-Evans and Anthony Sarcevic, who, of course, didn't. So that's one thing people shouldn't read into. Another is that the list of contracted players will not necessarily all be with us next season.
No,
it's very important to me that people know that.
That's not the provisional squad list.
No.
And Phil Lloyd, who's joined us this evening, and is apparently shocked when I drop F-bombs. I'm honestly more surprised that I can control them in polite company, like school teachers and stuff. But he had me in stitches earlier, pointing out to someone on Twitter that there was this thing called the transfer window. Or more like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if there was something called a transfer window? And yeah, this is either way, things change. Players who are under contract can be released. The ones that, and again, to go back to your language, it's not saying that any of them have signed contracts. It says they've been offered contracts. So even Ibby, Fraser, Cullen Camps, can still leave. As you know, it doesn't mean that they'll be wearing a county shirt on Monday. I got on Monday. Oh my God. That's because what I was thinking about was on Monday, as we finished the Twitter space, I checked my phone, and someone who shall fully remain nameless told me that Collar, who was it? I told you, didn't I? Collar, Fraser and Ibby were all going to their club. And this is someone that works at a football club. So yeah. First thing I do is message you and be like, oh my God. But that could happen. Like, that could happen. But what they did say, because they kind of work for a club and understand the ins and outs of it, is that they don't really understand why we use the language that we do. It's not something that, you know, clubs do widely. I suspect, and I said this last night, this time particularly, it's down to what on earth is that? A very squashed not transfer window, but negotiation period. You know, they're playing Wednesday night. By all accounts, meetings were had on Friday. It's not long to make a decision about your career, potentially as well. If your agent's out talking to people, you don't know where your offers are going to come from. I wouldn't be, like any of my mates, I wouldn't be encouraging them to sign anything. You just wait and see, right?
I mean, as we said on the space last night as well, these players are all like proven winners. They're going to be receiving offers from all sorts of places. So
yeah,
and it's going to be, and the age of all that, these are going to be big moves for these players. This could be like their last big contract. So I know. I mean, I've got to the point now. While we were waiting for the retain list, I turned notifications on for County's Twitter.
Yes, I did that yesterday.
I don't do it during the season because there's too much. Like on a match day, it's a bloody nightmare. But
I do it the last week of the transfer window, and that's when I get really faux angered by Liam Richardson's like 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Carabao
and then as you get closer, they're on the hour. Carabao Sports, whatever else there is, Sky Bets.
Carabao Jameson's.
Yeah. I saw him on Saturday and I really wanted to ask him, like, at what point was he ruining my weekends? Because we were kind of expecting it to come out Saturday, Sunday. But it was Monday, which it was last year as well. It was on the bank holiday Monday that it was released, I think half an hour later this year. So there's a precedent now. We'll know. We'll know when it's coming. So let's
flip this up and remember it for next year.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's going to get right on my tits. So in terms of the players who are in dialogue, I love the phrase in dialogue now. I'm on the fence as to whether we will see them get. I'm kind of veering towards them leaving and getting a better offer elsewhere. And I mean, so Callum Camps is one of them. We lose Callum Camps. I think. I mean, it's mad because he was a contender for Player of the Year for me for a lot of the season.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Injuries again, but this injury was nowhere. This injury was down to him getting basically assaulted during the Wrexham game.
Right.
But at the same time, where does he get in given the other players we've got there? And Horsfall, I mean, if we do lose Horsfall, you know, bummer. But I don't know. Challenger did mention in an interview a couple of months back that there's going to be big changes.
Yeah.
And people seem to have taken that to heart. And so yesterday, as people say, well, he said there was going to be big changes. It's like, yes, but these things take time because there'll be players who are on the transfer list. Oh, why don't we publish a transfer list? Because then that affects how much money you get if everyone knows you're actively trying to upload a player.
Look how much in the past that's backfired for Peterborough. So Johnson Clark Harris, who 2 transfer windows ago They put him on. He was at his absolute peak, and Dara put him on a transfer list, and so kind of instantly that reduces their negotiation power because they're saying we're happy for him to go, and then they they didn't get the offers that they wanted, but ultimately it becomes a game of chicken, doesn't it? Because they're happy for him to go, or at least are willing for him to go, and that was something that played on until he eventually went to Rotherham as a free agent 12 months later.
Yeah, which hasn't really worked out for him.
No.
Matt Bryan has made a very good point. We should start a rumour. I think the criteria for the rumour should be an ageing former Premier League player on a free transfer. Um, Matt Bryan has suggested Michael Keane on a free, which I'm running with that all summer. He's from Stockport.
Yeah.
Came through the United Academy. I think nailed on. Ashley Young could be a fun one. James Milner is another one who's available. So I think during the summer we'll just push these. Lee, those are not rumours. That's us being silly before you.
Because I was just about to throw Phil Foden into the mix because they've lost the FA Cup twice in a row, and
hilariously so.
He's just a local lad. Wants to go back to his roots.
Yeah, well, they like to come and help us out, don't they? So we'll get on now to the thing that's annoyed me the most. I mean, the last 15 minutes of us moaning about people's reactions to the retain list is nothing compared to what we're going to get onto now. This Ibitore slander. He was available for pretty much every game.
Yeah.
As you said on the space last night, he turned down an international call up to stay with us. He's committed. He's never injured. He's a good solid 6 or 7 out of 10 every game. He can cover 2 or 3 positions. He's a professional. But people seem to think that because we've offered him a new contract, we're just not looking for anyone in that position. And it's blown my, like, we could. I mean, I think we will go out and upgrade in that. We will go and start. I know we're being linked with the left back from Bradford, apparently, who's out of contract. That's like the one like link I've seen from like decent sources. But if we were to bring him in,
who's that?
And he gets injured or suspended, then at the end of the day, you're going to need someone to come in who's reliable, and that would be Ibitore. I still think Rydell will go out on loan. I cannot remember the name of the Bradford lad, but he may have a double-barreled surname.
Huh. The one time that Liam's not hanging out in the comments, I'll find out. I know that
I'll find his name for you now.
They're talking about Jamie Walker going to Carlisle, and Liam had messaged him, and it turns out he was like at Edinburgh in the airport, like going on holiday with his family. Very much not kind of on the way to Carlisle.
The name is Lewis Richards. Spent a lot of his time this season out injured. So
I was going to say, I don't.
Let's seal it.
Yeah.
Lewis Richards, only young with us. So there's been quite a few credible accounts that normally get these things right more than they get them wrong have posted about him.
Right, and regardless,
either way, we're not going in with the same team. It's not going to be
no. And there was I saw one comment earlier that like, it really, I think it was yesterday actually. It really stung because we've offered, I think it was talking about Ibby versus Kyle, and I'd offered, and it stung because we hadn't offered Kyle Noyle contract, but had offered Ibby one. I mean, the mind boggles because they're not, they play on different sides of the pitch. They are not the same player, but equally, what I think, like I said at the beginning, a contract negotiation is a two-way conversation. For all we know, Kyle Noyle didn't ask for a new contract. and was quite happy to go off and go somewhere where he knows he's going to get minutes. I don't understand, he's not. I wouldn't like. He's been a brilliant, like, especially that first season when he came from Donny. He was brilliant, and I've always loved watching him running around in space because no one passes to him, and he's just stood there, waving a little bit. But obviously there's that he was out for a good chunk of last season, and when he came back against Forest Green, there was a tangible difference, and kind of he brought so much to the team. But I'd genuinely be more upset if Ibby was going. I think
so. I mean, if we lose Ibby, we'd be losing a player who's available every single week, and is solid. I mean, for all this talk of, oh, he's rubbish going forward, or he's rubbish at it. I think what annoys me is that there's no nuance. There's no, well, I don't rate him. I don't rate player X, so I don't think we should keep. It's always, oh, player X is shit. Well, they're
it's
definitely not shit.
And I think that this is not my own comment, but I wholeheartedly agree with it. So it's not like fans are having these conversations on closed WhatsApp groups. It's conversations that are happening on Facebook, but worse, they're happening on Twitter, which is an open access platform to all intents and purposes. Like, how do you think it feels to be like, oh yeah, I've been offered a new contract at a club that I've been at for 2.5 years, and I'm really happy. And then you see a load of fans who know nothing. And I say that with the greatest of respect. I don't, I'm sure they do know something, but they're not professional footballers. They've not played at that level. And that's evidenced by, I think, was it last season where Ibby won, he was in the PFA team of the season for League Two, and that's peer voted. He is a blinder of a player. We just, I don't mean we, I mean as a fan base, just don't seem to see it, and it's incredibly frustrating.
As Phil Lloyd's pointed out, he was a scapegoat at the start of last season. And then prior to last season, then we signed Corey Adai. He became the scapegoat at the start of the season, and then for the rest of the season, like since Adai's come back in and done well, it's been Wootton and Torre. I mean, the amount of people I've seen saying release Tanto and Wootton, it's like, well, no, that's like, I mean, Tanto in particular, that's a multi-million-pound player like in the making right there. Why would you just release?
But their answer when you ask them who we should get in to replace Tanto would be like, oh, let's go after Haaland. I'm obviously being incredibly facetious, but this is not rational discourse. It's just, it's quite reactionary, but also all of these players that we've talked about have got something in common, and it's something that people talk about privately, but they don't talk about the fact that they are all men of color, and as a consequence, or maybe not as a consequence, may well be a coincidence, but I don't think it is because it's gone on for long enough. They seem to attract far more criticism than some other players. And we, I've mentioned it at the DEI group in the past, and you kind of get back, oh, well, there's casual racism at every club. And that's as maybe, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about it and kind of call it out. And I think it's something that we've seen week in, week out, and it can't be. I have no issue with someone criticizing someone's performance and being able to say, oh, I can evidence this through missed passes or opportunities to go forward, and instead you don't, and it's just oh shit, there's no
reason or nuance to it or anything like that.
No.
It's Yeah, it's the same with Tanto as well. To be fair, he gets an element of, oh, we need a more clinical striker. It's like, no, but
Mhm.
he showed last season when we won League Two that if he's played through the middle with a strike
Mhm.
partner, he'll get 20 goals. And I'd imagine if you looked at his stats from this season, like when he's played up top, then it'd be the same. It'd be the same. He's a 20 goal
Yeah.
a season striker. Kyle
Yeah.
Wootton has got nearly 20 goal involvements, goals and
Yeah. Yeah.
assists together. Like I think it was his second highest scorers in the league. But it's this thing
Goal
of
contributions. Yeah.
people talking as though we've finished fifth bottom in the league and just
Yeah.
stayed up by the skin of our teeth. That's the issue for me. Is like
Yeah.
we were not far off at all. I mean, I'm not one to constantly go on about refereeing decisions. I think Jim Gannon used to always say, "Oh, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you take." And it's similar to that. But if you did do it just on refereeing decisions, we'd probably have gone up automatically based on refereeing decisions. I mean, take the refereeing decisions out of it, we were probably about 3 or 4 goals off, or getting them goals in the right at the right times in the right place, right games. Then we're going up automatically. We were so close. Like
Yeah.
we
But
don't need
then
to change everything.
arguably there were games like last Wednesday, the Cambridge game, the Bristol game, where there weren't kind of controversial
No,
refereeing,
that's exactly
and
it. Yeah.
we weren't good enough. And so yes, I completely agree with you. I mean, the thing about refereeing is that at our level, it is very much consistently inconsistent. So yeah, a Wrexham fan. Oh God, the sirens are going off, the klaxons.
I was talking to one of them about biscuits before. They're lovely, really.
Well, I got some good Wrexham juju by going to Scunthorpe and being in the Scunthorpe end as opposed to Chester. So I'm a good luck charm now, apparently, for Scunthorpe, or just anti-Chester. But they would also argue that there were games where they had one. It was like the week after us, wasn't it, where they should have been given a penalty and weren't. So sorry, hang on a minute.
You've been mitered.
Yeah, but she turns up in a bikini.
Yeah, I'm to know if it looks good.
It looks lovely. Right, go on.
The dog's
Life
coming.
admin.
Oh my God, I could hear this like pounding down the deck. No, I'm not calling you fat. Go away.
Oh, what we'll do. Before we get on to another one of the headline names involved in the retain list chat, it'll take us on nicely to it links in nicely with our random county non-league goal of the week as sourced by Chris Eaton. So we'll play that and then we'll talk about the player in question.
Here's Palmer. Jennings. Crowsdale, halfway line. There's a bit of space for Southam Hales on the right, and that's where the ball's been delivered. Plenty of grass to move into for Southam Hales. He's running at Moxie now, the veteran left back. He's inside the area. It's Southam Hales, turns it back to Newby. Newby back to Southam Hales again as he tries to manufacture a decent opening. Curling effort. Oh, he's found the top corner. What a goal from Macaulay. Southam Hales curls it in with his left foot. A bit of magic from the wing wizard on the right-hand side. Curls it in left-footed, and County have made the breakthrough with one of the goals of the season. It's only his second of the campaign, and it's Southam Hales who breaks the deadlock. County 1, Torquay 0.
Oh, what a goal that was from Southam Hales. He's sort of, if you were Moxie, you've probably done the right thing, showing him on his inside, but he just lashes it into the top corner. Outstanding finish from Southam Hales.
Well, I think I said he was trying to find an opening for a cross, and in the end he thought, oh, forget the cross. Let's just bend this in the top corner. And what a celebration afterwards as well. Well, fabulous strike. Fourth officials, there's a red card here for one of the coaching staff on the Torquay bench. It's not Gary Johnson, but one of their coaching staff has obviously said something out of turn, and he's carrying on his... Oh, it's pretty poor language from the the member of the coaching staff. It's carried on as well.
So, yes, on to the one and only Macaulay Hales, which also goes back to what we were saying about like Twitter being an open forum and everything, and people don't seem to realise players read. So I've been banging this drum for years that try and be constructive. If you've got criticism, try and be constructive and don't just label players as shit or make these disparaging comments. Because on Yellowboard we had Simon Rusk's sister on there at one point, like when he was manager, and some of the stuff she must have had to read was just awful. Some of it warranted. There was a post on one of the Facebook groups last week. A county fan, I think most of us will know, but he was saying which players he'd let go and which ones he'd keep. And to describe Macaulay Hales, he used the phrase "made of Weetabix" on there. That's all very funny and stuff, but because I know it's a private group and stuff like that, but anyone can join. And quite rightly, a relative of his came in and said, "Look, that's not very fair," and it's absolutely not fair. You can go on about his injury problems and everything, but at the end of the day, he's been unlucky with 2 long-term injuries, and the others will have come as a result of that because your body's
Yeah.
trying to compensate and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I know he's missed a lot of games through injury, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair to say his injury point. It's been 2 very bad injuries, and I never thought when Sam Minahan is probably in my top 5 favourite players ever. I did not think when he left that the person who stepped up to replace him would end up also making that list. But I've come to terms with him. Obviously, the report from Pete O'Rourke last week, who's normally spot on, saying that he's going to be leaving. That's the one that's pulled the rug out from underneath me, as it were.
Yeah.
Even though
And
it's to be expected.
something on that as well in terms, so there was, I think it was Dave Thompson who was talking about, it should come from the club or the player. Things shouldn't be leaked. And, knowing how these things work and, things that I've been involved in the past, it will almost certainly have come from someone on his side, likely, in that, where he's had, by all accounts, has had an offer of a contract from county. So then you go and you look around and you find out what your options are. You can't do that silently. Your agent is making calls on your behalf. You've got teammates. That there is no way that activity can happen quietly. And the other thing that happens, and this is the kind of the darker side of it, but it definitely happens. Again, have been involved in it. There is an element of or there is gain to be made from letting people know that you are moving or open to moving, because if there might not have been any awareness before, now there suddenly is. And so scouts and recruiters are looking at your stats. Oh, this lad's, oh right, oh yeah, he's been brilliant. Oh, I thought he might have re-signed. Oh, should we go and have a chat? So if he's potentially been offered another 12-month contract, then, and he wants to know what his options are for longer contracts, that can be a very effective way of drumming up interest in a player.
Yeah, because essentially, these, as much as these things do take time, they're going to want it done as quick as possible so they can get settled in and everything.
Well, he'll want to go for, like, we had this, I can't remember who it was last year, and it was someone who had kind of finished their contract at the club, and they basically just wanted it done so they could go off on holiday with a family and come back and start a new job to all intents and purposes, and sort out where they were going to live and all of that. But yeah, they'll want to get it done sooner rather than later. And I think we should also be very aware that Simon Wilson's team don't sit there until, like, you know, they weren't sitting there waiting for the release and retain list to be published yesterday. Be like, right, all right, lads, we can start going. We need a right back and we need an attacking midfielder, because that's what we need to replace. Like that, you know, no.
I mean, if you look at the amount of players we've signed, where in the statement it said, "Oh, we've had an eye on him for 18 months or whatever." This is because the targets have been in place for ages already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Apparently Sam Cosgrove, who's obviously returned to Barnsley, is pretty much a done deal to go to Mansfield. I think I can imagine him there, like, you know, big lump of a forward. He'll be brilliant against us, won't he? I hate it already.
That's the biggest match, most perfect matchup of the transfer window, I think. Sam Cosgrove to Mansfield, that just fits perfectly for me.
Yeah, and they had a big released list, I think 14. So yeah, they're having a bit of a move around as well.
It's very much a make or break season, I think, for Mansfield, really. They're going to want to push on a bit more than they did after that run last season.
Yeah, they left it too late, and then they were atrocious I mean, they didn't win, and, you know, from beating us to like April, I think, may well have been May. And they pulled a couple. They were drawing to stay up, but could so easily have gone down.
Yeah, absolutely. Although Clough did say in January that he'd be happy with fourth bottom, not realising that 4 go down. Nice one, Nigel. On the ball there, mate. Well played.
Last time I went to Salford, Nigel Clough was there. There's a lot of people watching Kelly and Mai at Salford, who's a lovely little player, teeny, like Shea Gardner, teeny. But has come on so much in the last couple of years, and I can't see him fitting in at Mansfield at all. Just completely the wrong kind of player for them. But Sam Cosgrove, funnily enough, when we went to Carrington, we've got video that was never allowed to share, but presumably it's fine now. And the way that he was banging in, getting like completely on the end of everything, scoring ridiculous goals, didn't have him pegged for that at all.
Yeah. In a similar vein to Macaulay Southern-Hales, then also offered a contract is Will Collar. Again, that's another one I'd expect him to go. I mean, just based on his reaction at the final whistle, I think he'll be off. I felt sorry for him this season because that's not his role, playing as a 10. I don't think he's got the technical ability to be a 10. But he's not gonna get in the double pivot, as wankers like me like to call it. He's not getting in there ahead of Bate, Norwood, or probably Moxon now, or Camps in the form he was in when he was playing.
Yeah.
So it does feel like that's come to a natural end. And again, his family situation has changed. He might want to move down south, but either way, he'll get a 3-year contract somewhere else, because that could be his last big contract. I think it's the right time.
I think it is the right time. And, you know, he is a player who, you know, a couple of years ago was heavily linked with, I think it was Blackburn. You know, he was one of those expected to be a big earner. And, you know, during that time, I know Peterborough were looking at him, but he was too old for them at 20 foot. Like, you know, it was ridiculous. But I feel like he's maybe not reached his level, but there will be better opportunities for him elsewhere, but not to kind of diminish his contributions to the club. And, you know, especially the last few weeks, he seemed to take on a kind of new lease of life. But he spoke about that, didn't he? That it's that kind of uncertainty, and you're effectively playing for a contract and for your career, because it's not just county that are watching you. It's everyone else. So no, I wouldn't be surprised at all to hear that he's got other options, and I absolutely wouldn't blame him for taking them.
Absolutely. On to, before we move on, looking at the players who are contracted for next season, are there any of those that you'd anticipate not being with us next season?
Ethan Pye's the obvious one, isn't he? I think it'd be interesting because I think he probably could or would benefit from another year with us.
Yeah.
That said, as I said about promotion, you've got to take your opportunities when they come, and depending on the level of clubs coming in for him, I suppose the risk is that he is he goes somewhere else and he sits on the bench and he's not happy, or they loan him out, and and that's options as well. The players that might go higher up the pyramid there's an option sometimes to loan them back to the club, and it's something that Luton have done in the past. It happens, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, I don't know when we start has anyone asked the club whether Barry's coming back or Hills? Because I'm sure they're really excited about those
in people's
conversations.
heads.
Do you know what though? Ironically, I think if we'd have gone up, we'd have stood a good chance at getting both of them back as loans.
Yeah, Barry and Hills. And also, if we'd gone up, I think there'd have been a chance of selling Ethan Pye to maybe a bottom half Premier League club, and they'd want to loan him out to the Championship, in which case, hello, we're a Championship club. But now, where either he goes to a Championship club and gets regular game time, or at least as a rotation option, or he goes to a Premier League club and gets loaned to the Championship. So if Ethan Pye goes, I think he's gone.
I think
that's that.
But again, he's a lovely lad, desperately deserves a shot at whatever level that is. So clearly we'd love to keep him forever and ever. Do you know what I get like at this season, especially with loan players? That I think it like Casper the Friendly Ghost. No, and like he goes to Christina Ricci, like, can I keep you? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is Ethan Pye aside, is there anyone I will offer the name Odin Bailey, possibly? A year left on his contract, not getting anything near regular game time.
And clearly, we were shook by the revelation that he's removed Stockport County from his Instagram bio, which is true. I've checked it. It
felt significant.
It's not a mistake either, because he's not put it back in. When you've had a bit of a drink and you do stupid things on social media, and then you wake up the next morning and think, oh, Dan Love cottoned onto that, and you put it back to how it was. There's been none of that. That's, but again, and he's been a bit of a Marmite player, and this season he's only really come on as a sub for most appearances, and late on as well. Like it can't be fun for him. It can't be what he wants. And and again, this comes back to what Simon Wilson said about Cody and Kyle, that we could keep them, we could keep these players, but it's better for them to be somewhere else, and I think that's important. It's part of your kind of responsibility, like social responsibility, to behave ethically as well. So the fact that that's even in his kind of sphere of reference, that it's important, says a lot about our recruitment and how we behave towards the players ethically.
that all comes round as well, because obviously players talk, agents talk, clubs
Yeah.
talk, club owners talk, everyone
Mhm.
talks. So that's going to come round that we're doing the right thing
Yeah.
by these players. So
Yeah.
it's all going to be for the best. Yeah, in years to come, it's all going to help. I will throw a name at you. Let's decide the SK3 TV position on Nick Powell, because
I
he's another name that comes up a lot. Like,
I'm
comes up a lot
ambivalent.
anyway, but he's coming up a lot today.
I'm
Yeah,
ambivalent.
I think on his day, fantastic player, but
Yeah.
we're just not seeing it enough. A year. I said at the time I didn't think a 3-year deal was wise. And I can't. If you look at everything we've achieved since he's been here, he's not been. If you look at everything Paddy Madden was involved in for Paddy Madden, Paddy Madden probably comparable as like a big name signing coming
Mhm.
from from 2 levels above to play for us. And if you look at all those moments that Paddy Madden was involved in, it's like some of our best moments, and speaking for a lot of people, I think some of their best moments supporting County ever will have involved Paddy Madden. I
Yeah.
don't think you can say the same about Nick Powell, which, considering
No.
his reputation and the fact you'd imagine he'll be on a decent wage,
Yeah.
you sort of think maybe it's the time.
I think his contract is structured slightly
Mm.
differently to traditional
We'd be stupid not to, like, based
players.
on his history. Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of ambivalent. I'm sure that he plays a role in the dressing room,
Definitely,
and
yeah.
well, maybe not so much in the dressing room, but at Carrington, you know, as a more senior player, and you know the experience that he's had. But I don't. How many appearances he had this season? Can't be more than 10,
No,
surely.
he was out injured at the start. Came in for 2 or 3 games, played that amazing pass for Tanto to score at Lincoln, and then got injured in that
Yeah.
game, and that was it essentially. Did he come in and
No, he
play again
came
towards the end of
back
the season?
like March, April for a couple of games, I think, and then
Yeah, that's right.
off
Then there's
again.
another knock, and then yeah, if we're gonna, because I can see us going with a smaller squad next season and maybe supplementing it with loans. And
Yeah,
if you've got a
and
smaller squad, you want them all to be available.
the thing about Nick Powell as well is, you know, this like someone's like for you know, unless we released him, which presumably that would have happened, someone needs to come in for him. So he needs to make a conscious decision that he wants to go somewhere. You know, he's not playing for us because he doesn't want to. He's not playing for us because of injuries and whatever else. So why would that be different? So I
It's a
think,
short career, and he's coming to the end of it. And by his
yeah.
own admission, he's not one of those footballers who's really into football, which is one of my big fascinations in life. These I don't know why it's such a novelty, because how many of us don't have any interest in our job? You know, but suddenly with footballers, they're meant to like live and breathe. Gareth Bale was another one who just wasn't into it. He just happened to be very,
Well,
very good at it.
Owen Moxon completely fell out of love with football, didn't he? And went off to be a cricketer in Australia
Yeah.
or something ridiculous. And then came back and decided to do things a little bit differently in a way that worked for him. And I
Owen
suspect the
Moxon
same
did.
is put in.
Owen Moxon?
Yeah.
Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he was
I
like
thought you were getting mixed up with
schoolboy.
Andy Priest for a minute, and I was wondering how
No,
that had happened.
no. And he it came from a conversation at the junior fan forum, and people kept asking about, you know, what how do you get to be a professional footballer on all of this, and you know, what do I need to be doing at the age that I am? And his response was very much, do nothing other than enjoy it, because when you stop enjoying it, that's kind of the end of it. And I think he was under a lot of pressure. He just decided that he didn't enjoy it enough to make the sacrifices to do what he was being asked to do. And so, yeah, he went to Australia. I'm fairly sure he went to play cricket, but I'm not 100% sure. And then came back and went back to Carlisle, and that was, but still, even now, he's very much like, I need to enjoy what I'm doing, and it can't be about the successes and the accolades or any of that. It's about his personal approach to it, which I think is incredibly commendable.
Yeah, commendable and refreshing as well. But when you see these footballers that are media managed to within an inch of their lives and couldn't say anything interesting if their lives depended on it, to hear footballers saying something like that, I really like that. Yeah,
I think it's quite unusual, and yeah, I it changed my perception of him a little bit to have heard that story. Yes.
Well, do we have anything else on the retained list? Another name in terms of possible outgoings, Ryan Rydell. I won't be surprised to see him go out on loan. I know Challinor mentioned in January that he could possibly do with a loan. I think maybe a full season in League Two could be good for him.
Yeah, he needs, obviously he had a really, really significant injury at a really key point in his career.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to go somewhere and be worshipped and play week in, week out, and kind of find, because I think he was, I think he knew in his heart of hearts, like, if he'd have had another significant injury, then it not necessarily been career ending, but it would certainly stall the very kind of rapid career trajectory that he was on. And, he was another one that there was always loads of chatter about, with, in the same sentence as Collar and then latterly as Pye. So I think, yeah, he needs a massive confidence boost. I think Charlie talked about it a lot, that he found it difficult coming back from his injury. Would have small knocks and would think that they were perhaps more serious. And it's, yeah, I'm not absolutely not surprised, but that's what I would like for him to go and just be brilliant somewhere and hopefully come back to us.
Right. I asked people at the top of the show for some predictions. I've got some things I want to hit you with, and you can just some quick fire answers just to see where the land lies ahead of next season, which we'll do right after this. So yes, in terms of next season, 25-26, right, what have I got for you? When will our first defeat to Mansfield be? We resigned to that, right? Can we not just play them first two games? Yeah, I'm thinking
September, and then again on the 1st of January or thereabouts.
That's the way, innit? It always
That
seems
is how
to
it
be
works. Yeah.
August, September. When which position will our first signing to be completely written off once we've seen him play?
Oh,
I think I'm going for our new right back. I think our new right back will be written off within 3 games by a section of the fan base, and I can't wait.
I'm going to go for an out-and-out forward.
Oh really? Oh, you think we're going for an out-and-out forward?
I don't know. I just think it'd be funny if everyone finally got what they always wanted, and then.
Oh yes, maybe we'll sign.
It wouldn't be
Kyle
funny.
Type. Maybe we'll sign a target man who will be great at bringing others into play, but then we'll get to November and he's not scored, and I will be on the town hall steps saying, "I told you so. I told you this would happen." Oh, right. When do you think we will get something concrete on the stadium? Even though
Mm.
I think was it Ken Knott, I think did a thing the other week saying start of July
I was
is
going to
when
say, I feel
the
like
area
there's a
committee are
July
meeting.
date.
Mm.
But we're already, I mean, the work on the Bagara stand was supposed to start in January. So we're already kind of 6 months behind.
Yeah.
And there has been some discussion over just whacking a lid on the railway end so that it fulfills the covered seats side of things. I don't know that we can necessarily afford to shut a stand as well for
That was
however
always my thing
long.
with when there was all this talk of starting things mid-season. That
Yeah,
always sat a bit uneasily with me for that
yeah.
reason. Like having not now, I'm not on board with that.
So I guess we'll
I think
see.
we'll get information that'll be the main question at the usual scheduled forum at the
Oh
start of the
my
season. That's what I
God,
think.
I'd forgotten about that. When's that? That's normally before the
It's only
season
like
starts, isn't it?
the last Thursday before the season starts
Because
usually. Yeah.
last year it was all people were trying to pick season tickets up, and there was the whole. So yes, like just in case I forget later on, if you want a physical ticket, make sure you tick the box that says you want a physical ticket, and maybe for good measure, just screenshot it in case you need it down the line.
So on that note,
Oh
something to
no.
be very excited about. We're probably about a week away from seeing the new ticketing system.
I was just going to say, I've just remembered there is no more future ticketing.
So with that in mind,
Take it all
when
back.
will it first fall over?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not entering into this because I have to be fully confident that, like all the due diligence has been done. We've got a future proof, ironically, ticketing, but that, they will know that, the capacity that it can cope with and everything that goes with that. If they're using something that's on like AWS rather than like physical servers, then capacity just is elastic. So
I don't know what AWS means, but you sounded like you knew what you were talking about when you said it. So I agree.
Amazon Web Services. So it's basically like virtual cloud hosting
I've heard of that.
of platforms like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be brilliant. There will be no issues whatsoever. Everyone's family and friends' accounts with their linked season tickets will work seamlessly. Honestly, that is the bit that worries me the most, because you're transferring from a legacy system, but they have collected information from people who have provided it manually. So that for me, as a data entry setup exercise, it won't necessarily be any fault of the club or the ticketing system. But if I've made a human error in entering details, then that could be, and it won't matter that it's my mistake if it happens to enough people, and then people start to lose confidence in it.
So we're going to go for it not falling over. I
No,
did
it's not going to
read a
fall
while
over.
back. I can't remember where it was that I saw it, but it might have been just an unsubstantiated rumor. But someone did mention that we were using the same. A new website is coming along with it, apparently. And someone mentioned it's the same as Fulham use, but from what I can glean, Fulham's ticketing is done by Ticketmaster.
So because I am a football slut and I go to lots of teams' games that are not mine, Ticketmaster is quite common, but it's like the back end of it in terms of, so it's almost like powered by Ticketmaster, but so Crew use it, for example, Doncaster use it. I've bought rugby tickets. They like it's a common platform that's effectively taking the Ticketmaster technology and reskinning it. It's not to say that it's not without its problems, but if it happens, it's a really annoying thing where you have to assign like each ticket. You have to tell it what type of ticket you want, which really annoys me. But I'm sure once we get the hang of it, it'll be fine. So if it is, then it'll be that. And lots and lots of teams use it. Not Salford, I don't think. Salford's.
Well, I am touching wood right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, enough work has gone into it. I think that.
Yeah.
You can't get this wrong, surely. Surely.
Yeah. Just it'll be the first. At least no one will be asked about any, like, we're not playing Wrexham this season, so no one will be like, honestly, there's not a game that I can think of where there'll be that kind of bum fight for tickets.
No, you can't. I mean, and even if there is, it'll come. Yes, say Burton away or whatever towards the end of the season if we're going for promotion.
Well,
hopefully.
maybe, but by then you'd hope
but then
that
loyalty points will have been built up and that sort of thing. So that'll help.
Maybe Blackpool. We can't be lucky enough to get Blackpool in August again, but
no.
Presumably we'll be on a much smaller allocation.
The new, I say new team. Some of them we've played fairly recently, but in terms of the teams entering this league, what's, apart from Bradford for obvious reasons, what's the one that jumps out for you the most?
Coming down or going up?
Both.
Well, I very much want, controversially and very unpopularly in the lower league look chat, I want Walsall to come up because it's just so much easier to get to than Wimbledon, which is an absolute bastard of an away day. Port Vale for nostalgic reasons. Like I think I've said before, I remember going to Port Vale when I was very little and having to have my coat zipped up because my dad had managed to get us tickets in the home end, and fortunately it was a goalless draw, so there was no, like, I didn't get battered by Port Vale fans. So yeah, I think Port Vale for me from nostalgic purposes. And then I'm excited about the Hatters Derby and a season of arguing who are the real Hatters and and all of that. So
well, my come on county into these blank bastards kind of writes itself with Luton, so that's sorted. That'll probably be our last visit to Kenilworth Road as well. That was the first away ground I ever went to. End of 96, 97. That was my first away game. Can we have some love for Cardiff as well? That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
But then again, if they don't, I mean, they've not been. I don't think they've even been half filling that ground this season with the way they've been playing. So if they don't get off to a good start, then it could be like 15,000 people or so rattling around in there. But at least that'll be a good away occasion. And we're not far from Barry Island, as we discussed last week.
Oh yeah, we said that. And you can park at Newport and get the train. It's dead emuch and it's easier and cheaper.
State of mind.
Yeah.
Newport City. Yes, excellent. Oh, so there's so much. Just so much. I think throughout the summer we'll just post online with a load of reasons to be cheerful. I think just to reinforce. It's exciting. It's good. And I think, well, yeah, it is. It's our first time at Cardiff's new stadium as well. What's the threshold for a stadium being a new stadium? Is it just
for me? It's just before? If we haven't played, like if it's while we were on our foray in the lower leagues, that it's a stadium that that I haven't been to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's a fair threshold. We're very fair people, Hannah, I'd say.
I know. Well, this is our season finale, isn't it? So we had to find sense somewhere.
It is indeed. Me and Ben will be coming to you with some live Dave Smith Never Existed episodes on a night that's not Monday, possibly Tuesdays or Thursdays. I know, I know, I know.
Thursday's
Contemplating
a
a
good
move.
day. There's nothing going
Thursday's
on, is
alright,
there?
isn't it?
Yeah,
Nothing going
like
on, getting ready for the weekend. You want to
nothing
chill
to
out a
do.
bit.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
go
so there'll
Thursday.
be some of them. If you've got any ideas for any subjects you want us to tackle on Dave Smith Never Existed, get in touch in all the usual ways. Or you can people don't email us. People can email because I never give out the email address. That's why.
Mm,
sk3tvpodcast@gmail.com. Get in touch. Have a chat. Send
yeah,
some nudes. Definitely don't
don't
send some nudes.
do that.
No, don't
No.
want an inbox full of penis. Right. Shall we go?
Yeah.
We better go because there's hot girls in my area according to the pop-ups I keep getting on the
Oh,
internet.
really?
I don't want them to be in my area.
Well,
That's
there's
the
girls
stuff I'm
in
going to say to
bikinis
them.
in my area,
Oh.
apparently.
God, we've got weird areas, haven't we? How did this happen? Right. So we will be back with all manner of Stockport and some other county content, and
There might
we'll
be
come back and
like
do pods.
ad hoc
We'll
bits, like
Oh yeah, we'll be doing bits. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm not leaving it till the 26th of June to see you, Hannah.
yeah. Well,
But that will be our
yeah.
big launch for next season. That's a big 3 days, that is, because the 24th of June is the anniversary of our first show. 25th is my birthday, and then the 26th is fixture release day pod. So
All
big
right,
three
sounds
days of
good.
action. Something to look
Yeah,
forward to.
I'll check my diary.
But make sure it's free because I don't know what I'll do otherwise. Right. Yes, Pinatar is happening. It's been announced, Mark Morley. It was announced by the club. Was it
Has it?
Sunday? I think they announced it. Yeah, they've announced Pinatar.
Have they?
They did. They posted. There was something on the website, but then I think it got deleted. Yeah, because it was in like 3 different WhatsApp groups. Pinatar. There was an
Oh,
article
that's
posted,
funny.
and then it disappeared. Yeah.
Someone.
But yes, that is
Yeah,
happening.
it's not. But yes, it is happening. But no, it's not officially been announced.
Do I need to edit that bit out?
No, it's fine. If
No,
the club have put it up and taken it back down again, then it's not your fault, is it?
don't worry, I wasn't going to delete it anyway. Sort of serves them right. People should look at what they're doing. Right. To you lot listening, thank you for tuning in, both throughout the season and tonight. Thank you for not all being weirdos about the retain list and for adding a sense of sanity to proceedings. That's all good. Do you have anything to say to people?
No, thank you for being lovely. People are really lovely
Me
to us at the
or
moment, and it's really nice.
was that to me or was it to the people watching?
Just generally, both,
Just
everyone.
generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers people for being lovely, and cheers for the people who are in group chats and make out that they're lovely, but deep down they're as bitter and twisted as us. That's who I want to thank. That's who this goes out to for me. Right, say goodbye to everybody, Hannah.
Bye. See you soon.
See you soon.